Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. And if you're like me, you grew up watching The Goonies, right? This 1985, I believe, film. Absolutely positively just kind of reshaped adventure movies aimed at kids back in the day. It's still, to this day, over 30 years later, immensely popular, at least to people of my age. Those of us who are known as kind of as Zennials, so to speak, the ones that were born in the late 70s to the early 80s. To us, the Goonies was our life growing up as kids. We all loved Goonies, and as an Oregon-born individual, an Oregon-raised individual, it being set in Astoria was a point of pride for me, right? Everything else felt like it was set on the East Coast or in California or something like that. But if we got a movie that kind of felt like it was just for us, and I've always enjoyed the Goonies, I've always loved the Goonies. But I'm not going to lie when I say this particular story coming out of Deadline about a new TV show in regards to remaking the Goonies feels like an absolute utter ripoff, and I'm gonna explain why. But let's take a look here. So, according to Deadline, a drama about the Goonies reenactment from Sarah Watson, Sidecar and Movies team gets a Fox pilot order. Yeah. This is kind of weird, isn't it, right? This is weird. A drama about the Goonies reenactment. Now, does that seem familiar to anybody else? Does that seem a little bit on the familiar side? Have you ever heard of anything like that before? You might have if you happen to be a fan of Indiana Jones. Again, I'm going to talk about that. Saying here, Fox has given a pilot order to an untitled drama about students remaking the 1985 movie Goonies. The project comes from the bold-type creator Sarah Watson and Gail Berman-run Sidecar, with the involvement of the film's director/producer Richard Donner, production company Steven Spielberg's Amblin, and Warner Brothers. So basically that means that they're going to be producing it, and then Fox is going to be the people that are going to be potentially airing it if it gets a season order based on the pilot. But look, right off the bat, this doesn't necessarily interest me in the way that it should. I'm not against a show about fans wanting to recreate the Goonies, but I don't feel I'm going to necessarily care about the main character. And it's not the kids. It is not the kids. I am not making this up either. This is literally the plot synopsis. Saying, in the entitled project written by Watson, after failing to make it in New York and carrying a heavy secret with her, Stella Cooper returns to her distressed automotive hometown to substitute teach. She finds inspiration, hope, and ultimately salvation when she agrees to help 3 students who are pursuing their filmmaking dreams by putting on an impossibly ambitious shot-for-shot remake of one of the students' favorite movies, The Goonies. Over the course of the season, their passion will inspire a town in desperate need of hope in this love letter to the power of cinema, storytelling, and dreams. What that reminds me of is the movie Be Kind, Rewind. That Michel Gondry directed, Jack Black, Mostef starring film that had a great premise. That these guys accidentally erase an entire video store and they have to remake everything with the help of their friends in the neighborhood by what they call sweeting. And it ends up getting national attention. And then, of course, the MPAA comes in and shuts them all down because that's exactly what the MPAA does. The movie had a great premise, but the director was not the right person for the role. And I think the movie kind of ended up falling flat as a result of Michel Gondry. You may agree or disagree, and that's fine. But that's still my theory on that. However, that being said, when we talk about remakes like this story sounds dumb to me. It just sounds dumb, right? It's after failing to make it in New York, right? All right, let's just substitute that for Los Angeles. After failing to make it as a writer in LA, a distressed person returns home to substitute teach, because you know what they say, those who can't do, teach, and those who can't teach gym. And then she finds 3 students that want to remake the Goonies and gets the whole town involved. It's meant to be this uplifting thing, right? But I don't care about any of that. I mean, maybe I'm just a heartless, cynic bastard in this particular case, but I don't care about literally any of that. I don't care about the town. I mean, I like the idea of the town getting involved, but I don't like the idea of there being like Mr. Holland's Opus, but for this burnout teacher that finds, I guess you could say redemption and unification or purpose by helping, you know, 3 filmmaking teens remake the Goonies. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. I don't want that aspect. I think that aspect is kind of dumb. And I think that a lot of people are not going to be very happy with that. Because like I said, when I mentioned it being a bit of a ripoff, it is a bit of a ripoff. Not of the Goonies, but of this. This is RaidersGuys.com. Now, if you don't know this particular story, this story is fascinating because it is absolutely true. I mean, look at here. Who are the Raiders guys? In 1982, Eric Zala, Chris Strompoulos, Jason Lamb, and other childhood friends began filming a shot-for-shot remake of Steven Spielberg's Raiders of the Lost Ark. They were 12 years old. It took them 7 years to complete the film. The remake was accidentally discovered 14 years later, praised by Steven Spielberg, and became one of the most talked about and sought-after cult films in cinematic history. And in 2014, they reunited after 25 years to film the airplane scene, which they weren't able to shoot when they were kids. And it's finally complete, although you can't really buy it anywhere. I've been trying to find it to get a better copy of it. But what I did find is, to give you an idea, this is the VHS rip of this that popped up on archive.org. And just to give you an idea of we all recognize this iconic scene. To give you guys an idea for what they did, just give this a watch. I mean, like, that's it. That's just those few seconds of the most iconic scene, probably in modern cinema. If you want my honest opinion, I think that scene is probably the most iconic. That's cool. This whole thing is fun to watch. And they did it as a love letter. And I feel like their story, I feel like the Raiders guys' story is being ripped off and replaced with Goonies, because this was supposed to be a movie. The Raiders guys, it was optioned as being a film a couple of years ago, and nothing's been done with it. There's been a documentary about it that's on Netflix right now, but otherwise there's nothing that has been done with this property. So I feel like when it comes to what's her name doing here, Sarah Watson is just ripping off this concept and applying it to Goonies, and got Richard Donner and Amblin Entertainment to jump on board. And it's like, cool, I love the idea. Fine, you want to remake the Goonies, shot for shot remake of Goonies? Awesome. But when you make the main character not the filmmakers, I think it loses its luster, if I'm being honest with you. I just don't care. You know, I just don't care. I'd rather see a Goonies 2 over this anyway, and I don't know why it's taking them this long. But the question then becomes, are they going to be able to get Goonies cast members to show up as cameo appearances with Sean Astin or Corey Feldman, Josh Brolin? You know, would they ever show up in the movie at all, or in the show? And that would be kind of cool. That would be something to keep an eye out for. But in the meantime, like, it just feels like this woman went like, oh, they did this for you know, they weren't able to really maybe get the ball moving with you know, the Raiders guys story. So they just went, well, what's another Steven Spielberg beloved film from the 1980s? Oh, Goonies. Yeah, let's do it with that instead. Anyway, this story just dropped, and I don't expect this going over well, if you want my honest opinion. I don't think this is gonna do well. I don't think people are gonna lose their collective minds over it. I think people are gonna be like, no, screw this, because it just sounds, and maybe it's me. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. Let me know down in the comments below. I look forward to your thoughts and your opinions. Have yourself a great day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and and peace out.